Welcome, folks, to another CIRF report. My first announcement is about the massive amounts of views in the last CIRF report. So I want to thank everybody for doing their part and sharing. It never went public on any other platform other than YouTube and Rumble. Welcome to the Rumble, folks. If you want to get caught up on our backup plan, it is over at Rumble. So make sure you subscribe over there. The link is down below. Anyway, it looks like the finaglings are still there. And what I mean by that is some people are noting that likes are being taken away. So just note that, like, they'll come in, watch a little bit of the movie, do an up arrow, and then come back, review some more, and their like is gone. That's what a couple people have noted. I was watching these views throughout the week, and it was escalating probably all the way up to like 2,000. And then boom, it would get knocked down several hundred points on views. And every time I refresh, it was up higher and then down a little bit and up higher. Anyway, crazy. But I want to thank you for sharing and subscribing and telling your friends about it. I don't know where all these things are being shared, but it really is working. I don't know why YouTube is deleting some of the views. But anyway, big announcement is the next CIRF report on the 10th of February is going to be a live one. And the reason why is because it's going to be late. It's going to be late coming out because I'm in training all day, several day training for certification, which dovetails into my other announcement about services. And next Wednesday will be around 7 o'clock Central, but I'll know more once I get this class started. And I'm just going to go live after that and do the CIRF report live. All right. Now, that leads me to, if you go to the interzention.com and look at the services, those are changing around. So starting March 1st, the astrological charting, I tried to do the squish the time down, but it just doesn't work. I have to make that a little bit more expensive so that so I can shift the ship to the right sort of services that I'm envisioning for both the National Dream Center and Interzention. All right. Hope that made sense. Let's get started with the summary. And if you're new here, we do triangulation for two things. We want the main energetic influence. We want to know what you're going to feel. And then, or most of us are going to feel. And then we want to know what the solution is, just as a general term. So what actions, what behaviors do you want to carry out in order to maximize the energy afforded you? So this is the energy part, the influence part. Later on, the most important part, in my opinion, is the solution. So make sure you slide past that or hang on until we get this to the solution slide. If I talk too slow, there is an option on both Rumble and YouTube to speed me up. So please do that if that improves your life. Okay, so in the astrology, here's probably the biggest influences. It's got the biggest circle is the astrology. Yep, we got Mercury retrograde. Yep, we still got those big squares, the 90-degree alignments that produce pressure and friction and challenge each other and make you feel maybe angry. A lot of people noting anger. Well, we also have this little hidden sextile. It's real quiet and it's sort of in the shadows. No pun intended, but pun intended. Mars sextile Neptune, real quiet alignment. It's a sextile. It's a nice, real opportunity. And there's something magical happening with Mars. It's really ironic. And we'll talk about all that. But I got that highlighted because that's the overlap. That's the part of the astrology that matches the dream bot, the emotional experiences, and the well. The I-Ching says we're going to have to dig deep. No, we don't have to. The deep is going to be bubbling up. That's what the influence is. The shadow. It's not shadow work per se. It's you can't help it. Shadow is going to be projected outward. All right. And so you're going to be watching for it. You're going to be forced to experience these things at a collective level and in the microcosm of your personal life. So, kind of made a little pun here, as in, it's quiet, it's dark, it's, we don't talk about these things kind of, but shadow doesn't have to be all scary. And that's going to be in this reading in the well. It's digging deep in these things below the like at the bottom parts of the subconscious, according to Edgar Cayce. That's how we tap into the superconscious. And that's where the collective is all connected. And that's where all creativity, world-changing creativity exists in that well. So that's the influence. So let's go ahead and get started. I can keep talking, but we need to get this thing going. So let's do it. If you haven't subscribed, please do so now. Hit the like button. Share if you get value out of these. Thank you for sharing. And we're growing. And so I can't be happier and more appreciative. I am grateful for all of you just being here, not even doing anything, but listening. But I hope you not just enjoy it, but are getting benefit out of it. All right. That's the goal. So if you aren't, give me your feedback. Here's the collective unconscious, all right? And it's important to know because where mind is, body follows. And so this is the collective mind, according to the dream bot going into the people's dreams. Not going into the dreams, but people reporting their dreams, and then the bot reads it. So the top word, lock. Now, lock can be many different things. But it's 86 surge score. So it is important to recognize. And lock could mean like picking a lock, maybe the desired life out there, the door that we want to crash through is locked, and we're all trying to pick that lock and open this door into the new Aquarian world. Hopefully that's what these top words are meaning. And I'm a big believer in all that. So, but the red arrows is king, castle, in charge. That's what I put in charge. There's two ways you can look at charge too. Well, multiple ways. And palace. And so, is the castle locked? Is this more than just royalty? Is this just the elites? I don't know. But it's important because there's a lot of words there that mean the same thing or relate to the same thing. But the big meme, emotional experiences and surrounding change, because there's two change words in here, change and changed, and shred, and uncomfortable. So there's a lot of uncomfortable feelings here. This might be coming up if this is predicting something, these deep level shadows coming out this week, as above, so below. And that matches the astrology. We'll talk about that next. And then finally, the female meme is important because it's been around in the dream bots for quite some time now, mom and sister, but not just mom, sister, but other female words. So I just wanted to honor that. Yin, sort of feminine meme is still there. It's not big, but I do connect that top word. Lock is hair. Of course, I don't have any hair, but a lot of men have hair, but I think females are more, I don't know, in my opinion, lock is sort of symbolic more of the female. So I put it with the female meme. Anyway, you don't have to agree with me whatsoever. Let's get started with the astrology. This is what a lot of you have been waiting for. Yes, Mercury in retrograde, going to stay in Aquarius because of the retrograde all through February. I think 20th of February is when Mercury will then go direct again. There's a lot of red here. We're going to talk about all that. And then towards the end of February, you can see how it lightens up. So that'll be nice. Thursday, notice the first thing is Aquarius. The Aquarians are going to get a lot of extra energy, but notice all this. We have red square energies coming from both directions. Technically not a T-square, but close. And this is going to be a lot of energy. The Aquarians, such as myself, Sun in Aquarius, we're going to be feeling a heightened sense of maybe some tension, some friction. There's a lot of planets here that have no outlets. And so maybe possible more pent up energies of all sorts, excitement, anger, just unusual amount. The Aquarians rarely do feel or recognize their emotions. I mean, they're humans too, so they have emotion, but they're really good at dissociating from it, or what's in act therapy called diffusing from those emotions and being able to witness them. That is one of the secrets for this week, is using this Aquarian energy. So just a heads up there. This is, oh, by the way, I can't zoom in because it's going to take too long to repair it, zoom out. But you've got Saturn parallel Venus. And what that means is the vertical are the same. So when they come together, it's not a cazimi or anything. That's when you got the sun as part of these. But these are going to be apparent when you're going to look out in the sky, and you're going to see those really together, two bright stars in the same bit of sky. And we'd have to have the sidereal to see where that's going to be for you. Maybe if I remember, I'll do that when we get down to the sidereal part. But overall, you can see all the pressure and the conflict. These are all the red arrows. Another thing to look out for is all the destroyers. The destroyers and change agents, I'm going to call that Black Moon Lilith, Uranus, and Pluto, are all in Earth signs. And so, not that Earth is being destroyed, but in a way it is, metaphorically. But I'm talking about the material world. This could be the deterioration of the 3D world, but in a good way, in a law of one sort of way. This is the time where we harvest or move up, or some people call it ascension, or going into the 3D. There's people talking about 3D to 5D. Maybe this is it. It's destroying the old 3D because we don't need it anymore. We're progressing to higher stages. Who knows? Maybe that's too much for this reading. I don't know. But Black Moon Lilith and Uranus together, oh boy, just every time you think you expected something, something out from left field. And then, of course, the Black Moon Lilith brings in that sort of death feeling. So, unfortunately, Black Moon Lilith, just a heads up, is going to head down to Mars fairly quickly. And so now we've got the two kind of opposites, alive and powerful, and then the Seath, or the destroyer, the death female of death, the fire lady. So she's going to hurt and maim an already maimed Mars, because he's in Taurus and he's in detriment. And so it's already weakened, and then weakened even more with this conflict. So anyway, just a heads up, and that's the overall view for the week. There's a lot there, a lot of planets in Aquarius. When the moon gets here for its new moon, it's going to be an Aquarian new moon, and you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And today, this is Thursday the 4th, will be part of fortune as well. There's so 7 planets potentially, but at least 6 at any one time generally this week. That's a lot of Aquarian energy. On Friday, the part of fortune heads into Pisces and hits up Neptune. This is going to be important for our work, our deep shadow work, I hate saying that, shadow work. I don't think it's going to be like that. Shadow work implies that that's your solution, is doing shadow work. And I don't think that's the case. I think you're going to not have to go in. I think we're going to be, the in is coming out and up and in your awareness. I think that's the difference. So this is the influence. Then we have a perfect conjunction here, and it's really perfect with Venus and Saturn together in the sky. I encourage you to go out there and look and find them. And it'll be around Capricorn, I believe. We'll look at the sidereal. We'll do that later. But a lot of massive pressure on all of these planets, every one of them in Aquarius. So it's not just a pleasant, wonderful Aquarian observation in the grandstands, viewing reality from a distance. It's like you're feeling like you're in it. You're in the fight. So it's going to be harder for Aquarians to get up out into the stadium where they like to be, more observing things, because they're going to feel engaged in it already. That's just that overall view. And then, of course, Mercury retrograde is bringing up the past thoughts. We talked about how that can feed into wisdom for the future. And that was, oh, I forget that one. Never mind. Let's pause on that one because I can't recall where that came from. All right. And I think I got everything there. Saturday, still a lot of chaos. We got the moon doing some stuff. Almost looks like a T-square. It's not, but a lot of squared energy. This is where Black Moon Lilith and Mars are conjunct. But there's this little quiet, secret sextile amongst all the other chaos and an imbalance. And that's Mars sextile Neptune. It's real quiet. Meanwhile, when we're feeling friction and tension, you have an opportunity. Now, there's this death feeling to an already weakened Mars. So it's sort of feeling maybe like you can't get out of bed, sort of feeling, or maybe hopelessness. This might be the overall context there on this side. But the opportunity is, that's very shadowy. That's like maybe even depression, lethargy, motivation problems. And then you've got Neptune, and Neptune gives you fantasy, it gives you illusion, and it can be escapism for some, but overall it's dreams and an alternate world. But this is where creativity starts. This can be, if you go deep enough, can be that what so many people, not just Edgar Cayce, but talked about that super conscious and tapping in, not resisting. If you resist at the emotional level, then you can't get through that emotional level into the superconscious. So you have to really relax, stop all the resistance, and let these things come and go, the rise and fall of emotions as waves. Then let's see what else. Pressure. Yeah. Pressure to everything. Think. So you're going pressure on all these planets. Pressure to think, pressure to survive, pressure to be optimistic, pressure on the relationships, pressure on your status quo and need to control. All that is building and building and building. And pretty soon, at the end of all this, there'll be a really pretty pearl at the end of it, because that's what the clam or the oyster does to this piece of sand, and creates beauty out of it, beauty out of this work. Then on Sunday, it's pretty straightforward. We have Mars and Black Moon Lilith. That's it. All it is the friction and conflict of the 90 degrees, and then this quiet little sextile. It's a perfect, conjunction. I almost said harmony. No, it's not. They don't like each other. So anyway, that's there. Monday, same thing. Moon is in its last zodiac sign before its new moon. On Tuesday, same thing. Now Black Moon Lilith is far enough away from Mars where he can maybe get back on his feet again. Part of Fortune's coming in will be kind of replacing that Black Moon Lilith. So it's sort of a regeneration process of the warrior within. So no longer afraid, no longer weakened as much, and certainly no longer helpless. And now we can really start to be strong going into those dreams. That's key because it feeds right into the solution. So that's why I keep on hammering that home. Then Moon, now in Aquarius, 6 planets as we discussed. This is Wednesday the 10th, and still not quite to a new moon. So that'll be in the next CIRF report. We'll talk about that next time. And still got that sextile. So that's that quiet little thing that's consistent most of the week that isn't part of the friction and tension. All right, let's get rid of our highlighter. And let's talk about when we cast the coins, we got a 48, hexagram 48. It's water over wind. That makes no sense. Doesn't the water put out the wind, or how does that work? Well, no pun intended, it is the well, and it's the depth. Well has served a symbol for that which sustains life and provides a constant, inexhaustible source of nourishment. When you and I think about the humanness of the well, it's, you go in existentially and really look at where the real source of energy comes from. Why do we need to sleep? It doesn't make any evolutionary sense. It seems like we would have evolved past needing sleep. Well, we haven't. So sleep gives us some sort of energy and all sorts of other things, but it's part of the depth. It's the quiet side. It's the spiritual side. It's the spiritual nourishment. It's where's this stuff come from? And then, of course, you've got included in there is the deep parts of the subconscious where our old memories exist and traumas and all the skeletons in the closet. That's the stuff that we sweep under the rug because it's not acceptable to have these things. So the shadow's in here too. But it's not all scary. I want to hammer that one home too. Line 2 says the water in the well is clear, untapped, but it is not being used. So it's there. It's our soul. It's not being used enough, and you will have an opportunity to work with your soul. It's a very spiritual week in terms of influence. It's going to force you to seek the depths. Line 4 says work on the foundation of the well so that when you're using the well, it doesn't get tainted or it doesn't drip out or spill out. It's useful. And then line 5 says it's not enough to have access to a good well for it to be of real value. You must drink from it. So that's the whole humdinger. That's the whole point, is now that we're getting into the solution, is we know that the deeper stuff, the spiritual stuff, the soul level stuff, the super conscious, the creative, the emotional work, even inside that deep emotional work, it's going to be here today. So now don't be afraid of it. You've got that Mars will come back and get back on his feet eventually throughout this week, give you the fortitude to allow these emotions to be there, to be strong, to let even the real scary skeletons to come out. And that's going to be healing for you. And I have a lot more to say about this. This extends into the solution. So let's do this first, and we'll talk about the solution. All right, and I have to speed through this because I'm running out of time, but on the solution, the hexagram, when you put those change lines in, you get 62. Attention to detail. This says ambitious undertakings are not in order, so not a time to be having these big goals and everything. We already talked about that. It's not a time to succumb to the shadow, but it's a time to work with it and learn from it. The power of the small is served by slow and steady advancement, conscientious and dignity. Demands to not expect success in big things right now. Okay. And then know your role, attend to details, and act with humility. You can achieve success even with few resources. So you can see both influence and solution talk about that it's not a big push, not a lot of energy this week for outer material things. In fact, materialism might be being destroyed this week. We put this into our calculator, and Neptune is our big one because Neptune is the big well in all regards. It can be the biggest, easiest avenue in the zodiac, in the astrology, to get to the super conscious where we want to be. Then the Rave gives us hexagram 22, which we'll read from. And the sidereal solution is Aquarius. So we have all this energy that's conflicted. And then paradoxically, we have our solution, which is to go into and use the opportunity of Neptune and use the actions and behaviors of your best Aquarian in order to maximize this energy. So we're going to simulate all this for you. So hang on. The hexagram 22 of the Rave says gate of openness. This is incredible because this brings in from the personal experience, automatically feeds into the collective experience. Wait till you hear this. Potential to realize the spirit becomes the possibility to share that spirit with others. And the role of the individual is incomplete without social skills. The individual has conceptual capacity to communicate its insight to others. The task is made more difficult by its strangeness. There's a Neptune, sort of a Uranus flavor. It is a quality of the emotional spirit which will condition how receptive the collective will be to the individual awareness. That one is key. Go back 10 seconds and re-listen to that sentence or read it yourself. The knowing process requires a certain amount of social interaction to disseminate its individuality towards the goal of mutation. You see what we're going for? The Rave gives us a gateway, and the gateway is the more you do this shadow work or let the shadows come out and do this processing, you're actually helping the mutation of the collective. Just by doing that, you don't have to get all social. You don't have to convince others that you're right. You don't have to go preach this and that. All you have to do is go within. That's the beauty this week, is grace is where the spirit of the knower is released in a wave. So you're creating ripples in the collective. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. All right, here is the summary slide. And we have the influence is the quiet, the shadow, the deeper side. It's just ripping the rug up and seeing what's there, allowing those things to be there, not being afraid of it. This is just a picture of two people standing there and how long their shadows can be. A lot of times you feel like this big monster is in there. And when you turn around and actually look, it's just this little tiny guy or girl and almost a baby at this point. What was I afraid of that for? A lot of these problems in life are like that. All right, here's the solution. The I-Ching said 62, attention to detail. And this is the detail within. This is the details of the emotion. This is the details below the emotion. Details in the superconscious that we keep talking about. Know your role. Attend to details. Act with humility. The Rave mandala said the gate of openness, the potential to realize the spirit becomes the possibility to share that spirit with others. And then the Sidereal is the Aquarius. That's all in here. So the overlap, here's the overall triangulation. This week is for deep diving and self-awareness. And that self-awareness, if done correctly, will ripple out into the conscious, into the collective, as a wave. All right. Situations and experiences will most likely influence a need to dive deeper within yourself. Not a week for big undertakings. With curiosity and humility, get the details behind the emotions. Seek to dive deeper than the emotion touching the superconscious. Rave instructs us that openness, which matches the Aquarian, and the awareness of our own subconscious will help open the collective's awareness of spirit, superconscious. Use your best Aquarian observer, independent and stoic, but not too detached and not too aloof. It's a great time for deep thinking, collective problem solving, and experience existential freedom. But the deep thinking part is just the Aquarian thing because they are such deep thinkers. You can give it a try, but this week is much less about thinking overall and more about experiencing. Wrong camera. Now, did you notice that remember the number one word in the collective unconscious is lock, and we're picking the lock? This is it. We're picking the lock of ascension or harvest or law of one or the 3D to 5D, whatever it is you want to call that at a collective level. The collective improvement is happening by unlocking your own soul and getting your own shadow work accomplished. And again, doesn't have to be afraid, but it's much more experiential than it is thinking. All right. That's a wrap. And be watching on YouTube for the live show. It won't be on Rumble, unfortunately. It'll just be on YouTube. And that's next Monday on the 10th. And you can hit the little reminder once I get that notification up. But I can't get the notification out until I start the training on Sunday. But I'll also be notifying all the Telegram users. Look us up on Telegram. Link is below. And thank you. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful week. Don't get too stressed out on this week. It's not about that. It's just letting things bubble up. Okay? That's the nutshell. And as it bubbles up, go deeper. That's it. All right. See you guys.